thing I want to talk to you about today is how to differentiate instruction using either the 2020 WIDA document or the WIDA Can-Do document, the Can-Do descriptors, which I personally like better, and I'll explain why in a second. Now, I've scrolled all the way to the end of grade 3. You'll see up here, there's just different grade 3 that we were talking about, the standards earlier. And at the end of grade 3, there are descriptors of where we want students at the end of each level. So let's pretend a student, level 1 means a student speaks basically zero English, right? And level 6, which I don't know if it'll show clearly in the video or not, level 6, a student has exited ELL services, so we don't need to focus on level 6 because level 6 is the student, we're going to track them, but they no longer need CLD supports, right? So level 5 is basically the student is about there and understands English, speaks, writes, listens really well. Level 1 is very little proficiency. So at the end of each grade level in the WIDA document, this is where we want the students for interpretive, which is listening, reading, viewing, at the discourse, which would be like the paragraph level, at the sentence level, and at the word level. And that shows you that. I don't like this one as much because I'm all about the verbs when it comes to assessment. I want things to be measurable, and often these don't have that very well. So one of the things that I included the 3rd grade edition in this announcement, but if you Google WIDA Can-Do descriptors grade, whatever grade you're teaching, and we did an example of a grade 3 science lesson. So I'm going to show you how can you use, by the way, previously these were called MPIs, Model Performance Indicators. The 2020 edition of WIDA now calls them PLD, Proficiency Level Descriptors. That's what these are, CPLDs. I don't care about the acronyms. I call it differentiating instruction. But I just wanted you to know if you had your class before 2020, you probably heard the term MPI. And if you had it after 2020, you probably heard PLD. As an experienced teacher, we all know these terms change from time to time, but the idea of differentiation is what I want your students to be able to do. So I did WIDA Can-Do descriptors grade 3, and it came up with this document that's grade 2 or 3. Now, in our example of our language objective, our student was going to explain. So I went down to explain, and they were going to be doing their assessment in writing. Remember, they're going to create a chart and explain on the chart. So what I love about this document is it's really easy to make a differentiation plan based on the levels of your students, right? So if my student is in a level 1, they can show me they understand photosynthesis by listing ideas or stating facts in writing. If they're level 2, that means they're getting some English and ready they can describe elements. I can see like sentence frames working with that, or state how something happens, right? That would work with our photosynthesis lesson. By the time you get to level 3, a student should be able to state ideas about content-related topics. That would work with our photosynthesis lesson. And they could explain by relating details of different cycles. See, this student now is getting beyond that sentence and that phrase level and getting more to that discourse level. And that's what we see for level 4. And then finally, level 5 is they're about to exit CLD services. They can describe details of processes, procedures, and events. So this is a way that you can level the student's language to help them achieve the content objective. And this you'll include with your assessment at the end of the lesson that you're creating. Also, some of you might be using the federal terms in the district that you're in. So you have non-English proficient, that would be level 1 and 2. and then limited English proficient. So level 3 would be 1, and then level 4 would be 2, and then I forget what it calls after LEP. But WIDA uses more asset-based terms: entering, emerging, developing, expanding, bridging, and reaching is they don't need any support anymore. So you won't be creating lesson plans for level 6 students. I hope this helps in explaining how to differentiate the instruction, how to create your assessment so that the students can show that they understood the content at the level that they're at, a proficiency level that they're at. So I hope that this helps. And this is just one more support for you in your process of creating your lesson plan updated to the 2020 WIDA standards.